Hello and welcome, Travel Week readers. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a fabulous show planned, as always. We have the lovely Caitlyn Shearer, who is the tourism manager for Visit Seattle here. And we also have Tracy Zeisberger, who is the Canadian rep for Visit Seattle. It's going to be a great show. I am so excited to learn more about this destination and what's new and going on in the destination as well with you all. Before we get started, just a few notes of housekeeping. First and foremost, as always, if you have any questions during the webinar, please pop those into the Q&A box you see at the bottom, and I will be on at the very end of the show to ask any of those questions that you have live on your behalf so we can get those answered live. So definitely don't be shy. Use this time to ask anything about the destination and how you can best sell it to your clients. Another point to mention is we have an amazing prize also attached to today's webinar. It is a Taste of Seattle prize pack with some yummy treats and flavors from the city. Yum. Sounds delicious already to me. If you want to be eligible for this prize, all you have to do is stay through and watch to the very end of the webinar, and then we are going to pick a random winner after the show is over. Make sure to stay tuned for the follow-up email where we will announce the prize winner there. And that is all the housekeeping I have for today. So without further ado, I am really excited to pass the floor over to Caitlyn and Tracy, and I will see you all at the end of the show. Caitlyn, Tracy, thank you so much for being here, and take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Tracy is our lovely rep here in Canada. So she represents us up there. I am here based in Seattle. Super excited to be with everyone here today. We have lots to see and do in Seattle. We're going to be talking about some of the iconic sites to see in the city, some things to do, but also some ways to elevate those experiences to your clients. As you can see, we've got a little bit of sports on here too. I don't know if we have any Hawks fans in the house, but we will get started. So first and foremost, you've got to get here. We have here our Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. It is actually celebrating its 75th anniversary, and so I thought it would be fitting to include this very sweet old photo here in the top right. That is SeaTac Airport in its very beginnings. And then just below that, our international arrivals facility underwent a huge renovation. And so that is actually a walkway. Any one of our jets that accesses the airport there can maneuver its way under that walkway. So very cool. Lots of wonderful things happening at the airport. We have, for connectivity from Canada, we've got 7 nonstop flights out of Montreal, Toronto, Edmonton, Calgary, Kelowna, Victoria, and Vancouver. And I know here launching in a couple weeks with Alaska Airlines, we've got a new nonstop route out of Toronto. In addition to the airport, you can get to us by plane, train, and boat. Our friends north in British Columbia have a very easy time of it. We've got ferry systems. The Clipper and Blackball can access us here in Seattle and the surrounding area. We also have float plane access, as well as Amtrak. All right, cruising in Seattle. So Alaska cruising is very popular, and here in Seattle, we are home to just over 50% of all Alaska sailings. Very accessible for your clients to get into the city and then onto that ship. We've got 2 piers here, Piers 66 and 91. Of all of the sailings we've got out of the city, of all of those sailings, we have just about we actually do have every single cruise line represented. And just announced in 2026, Virgin will be coming to Seattle as well. So we're pretty excited about that. 66, as you can see, is right downtown. If you were staying at, say, the Edgewater or the Marriott, you could literally walk to the cruise terminal. Pier 91 is just outside of that downtown core, but still super close. About a 5-minute Uber, Lyft, or taxi from any one of our downtown hotels. All right, exploring Seattle. So as I mentioned, we're going to be kind of hitting those iconic spots and ways to kind of elevate those experiences for your clients. In addition, we're going to be hitting some festivals, some sports, and some outdoor recreation. So this is a little bit of summer and then a little bit of fall, and it's all going to be great. So we're going to kick off with the very iconic Space Needle. Space Needle was built in 1962 for the World's Fair. It is 2 stories at the tip top. So we have a beautiful observation deck. And then just below that, we have the Loop, which is the world's first and only rotating glass floor, fully glass. If you stand in one spot, it'll take you about 30 minutes to do a full rotation. The Space Needle underwent a pretty awesome renovation pre-pandemic. So if you have not had an opportunity to see it, you should come down and visit, and we'll get you up there to check it out. One way to kind of elevate this, I've been talking about this all year. It's one of my favorite ways to experience the Needle, is to go visit the Loop Lounge. So outside of those very busy summer months, the Needle actually puts up a craft cocktail lounge on that glass floor, and with locally sourced food and beverages and very tasty, fun craft cocktails. In that same area of the Space Needle, that whole little pocket of the city is known as the Seattle Center. In the shadow of the Space Needle, we have Chihuly Garden and Glass. This is one of my favorite spots in the city. It highlights the artwork of Dale Chihuly, and there's several different ways you can experience it. As you walk through the museum, you get to see this beautiful, beautiful art, all of these bright, vibrant colors and shapes. Once you're in there, your clients can experience all the museum has to offer. And on the hour, every hour during the day, they do a free live demo of glass blowing. Very, very cool to see. Whatever time I allocate myself to spend there, I always end up having to tack on at least 20 or 30 minutes because I end up stopping to watch that live exhibition. And then right next to Chihuly and Space Needle is the Museum of Pop Culture. This is probably one of the most popular spots in the city. When I take groups there, they just have a blast. We've got this beautiful guitar tower, but the Museum of Pop Culture is really all about pop culture. Everything from movies to film to music. We have a Nirvana exhibit, Jimi Hendrix, horror films, and sci-fi. So this is really, really, really a wonderful option for families. Everybody from kids to grandparents can find a way to enjoy this museum. All right, I love in Seattle taking in the city by 2 ways, bird's eye view and then on the water. So these options are for that bird's eye view. In addition to the Space Needle, we've got the Skyview Observatory on the left. This is actually the tallest building in the city. Stands at, I think it's 73 stories high. And you can actually look down on the Space Needle from the Skyview Observatory. They are ready, trade ready. So they're ready to work with you so you can get your clients up to the top of the observatory. And then just south of all of that, we've got Smith Tower. Smith Tower is one of the oldest buildings in the city. And there is a really great history. That observation deck is up there at the top, and they've got some food and beverage up there. And new, just in this last year, they have actually added a tour piece to that as well. So in addition to the historic elevator ride to the top, you get a 30-minute little history tour, which is super, super interesting. I'll talk a little bit about that history later. Pivoting to another icon in the city is Pike Place Market. You can get lost in the market, spend an easy half a day there. For your clients, I would always, always, always recommend trying the market through a food tour. So we have 3 tour operators who are ready to work with you and your clients to get them booked on a food tour. With those food tours, they run about 2 hours. You get some history of the market, as well as tasty bites, anywhere from 7 to 9 bites. There are a couple new products rolling out. There is a VIP coffee crawl that has very literally just dropped, I think, in the last couple months. And so that is another unique way to experience the market. If you want to go a step beyond that, newer online for agents to be able to book is a market to table cooking class. And so these chefs will take you into the market and you will pull what you need for your meal from the market. So very, very fun and delicious way to experience the market. Seattle waterfront, you can't get more iconic than the Seattle waterfront. We've got the Great Wheel there on the left, Argosy Cruises right there in the middle. This is undergoing a pretty great renovation as well. We have just about 20 blocks of this really beautiful pedestrian walkway filled with things to do and things to eat and things to see. Along this corridor, you will find the Seattle Aquarium. And Pier 57. Pier 57 here on the left, you can see that boat. Salish Sea Tours, they offer cruises of Elliott Bay. And then that Great Wheel, as I mentioned. And then they also have Wings Over Washington. You can kind of see on the top right corner there, they've got the crab pot, so seafood options. They have a sourdough restaurant, all sorts of things to see and do. They've got an arcade for the kids. So this area of the city, again, probably a solid half day if you just kind of wanted to get lost in exploring what the waterfront has to offer. The Seattle City Pass is also a great way to see all these things. So most of the attractions I just mentioned are on here. You get five attractions included in there. The Space Needle and the Aquarium are guaranteed, and then you get your choice of 3 of 4. And those 4 include the Argosy Harbor Cruise, Chihuly Garden and Glass, the Woodland Park Zoo, and the Argosy Harbor Cruise. All right, Boeing Factory Tour. I'm very, very excited to share with this group. If you have not heard, the Boeing Factory Tour is online and ready to book. Boeing Factory Tour was closed during the pandemic. They have recently reopened and are starting to sell those, FIT individual tickets with transfers from the city. In addition to the Boeing Factory Tour, we also have the Museum of Flight. So these are going to be on opposite sides of the city. Boeing Factory Tour is north, the Museum of Flight is going to be south. But the Museum of Flight is a really wonderful way to experience this type of museum if, flights and planes is what floats your boat. But it is the largest air and space museum nonprofit in the country. They do a really excellent job. Coming back down from planes, we're going to go underground. So the Seattle Underground, I mentioned Smith Tower, one of the oldest buildings in the city. So that building is located in Pioneer Square. Pioneer Square, back in the late 1800s, they had a really great fire, burned about 30 square blocks of the city down. And when they rebuilt, they just rebuilt on top of those existing sidewalks. And so it's a city on top of a city. And as you can see, these folks, they're going underground. So you get to walk on the sidewalks from the 1800s. And when you look up, you're very literally under the current sidewalk. So very, very cool, really wonderful history. They're actually very funny tours. And so we have 2 options there available for you to book your clients on. All right, we're going to talk about some sports. Seattle is a very, very big sports city. We love our sports. Game day, any game day, any sport, it's going to be a good day. We're going to kick it off with the Seahawks. This photo is actually from a fam. It was my very first fam hosting some wonderful Canadian operators. We had a wonderful day. This is in October. This is one of the reasons why fall here is my favorite time of year. Days are still long. The temperatures are warm. The leaves are a little crispy, and you get the Seahawks. So in addition to that game day ticket, for your clients, you can elevate that experience and get down on the field. So this is actually pre-game. So we were watching the Seahawks practice. And so we were down there on the field. There's also other options for 50-yard line, end zone, pre-game, post-game options to tack on to that game day experience for the Seahawks. Mariners. So the Mariners are in T-Mobile Park. Lumen Field is where you'll find the Seahawks and the Sounders. But here at T-Mobile Park, Mariners, Canadians, you Blue Jay fans, you guys take over our city every summer. So some of you might be familiar with this space. But if you've got clients that are coming down for a Blue Jays game, get them on one of our T-Mobile Park tours. So they've got tours that'll take you behind the scenes for all things T-Mobile Park and Mariners. So very, very cool way to just, I keep saying elevate, but it's just a way, to really bring that home. And then last in our sports is the Kraken. A couple of years ago, we came into the space for NHL with the Seattle Kraken. We're super excited to have a hockey team, really great success. They play at the Climate Pledge Arena, so that's here on the right. Climate Pledge Arena is a beautiful, beautiful space. This rolled out about just before the Kraken did. Wonderful renovations, and they have a lot of sustainability woven in the fabric of this building. So from their food and beverage program, just about everything is locally sourced within a 100-mile radius of the stadium, or sorry, the arena. Locally sourced food and wine. They have, I'm going to get the timeline wrong, but I know they have on their agenda to be plastic free, I think probably in the next couple of years. So some very, very lofty goals for a huge arena like this, but we're here for it, and they're doing a really excellent job. One of my favorite pieces of this stadium is the Rain to Rink program. So the very famous Seattle rain that we have gets turned into the sheet of ice for the Kraken. And all of that and more is available to your clients if they would like to do a climate pledge tour, which I would highly recommend. All right, shifting from sports, we're going to go on the water, and then we're going to go in the mountains. So on the water, Seattle, we're a city surrounded by water. So you've got saltwater and freshwater. Yes, that's right, saltwater and freshwater. So those two bottom photos, those are going to be Elliott Bay, that's saltwater. I mentioned Argosy Cruises in the Salish Sea. There's also some smaller options for you. That bottom left, that kayak is with Alki Tours. They are ready to book your clients. They've got all sorts of kayaking adventures out in Elliott Bay. You can do a sunrise, a sunset. This particular tour was coming through the Duwamish River, so it gave folks a really interesting glimpse of Seattle just in a different perspective, and then popped us out for that iconic spot. Argosy Cruises, I mentioned, they do have that harbor cruise. They also have a locks cruise that connects that saltwater to the freshwater. When you get into that freshwater of Lake Union, there are all sorts of options for you to experience the water there. On the top right is the Center for Wooden Boats. We also have hot tub boats. We also have pirate party ships. We have electric boats you can rent, and again, kayaks and stand-up paddleboards are available as well. All right, shifting from the water, let's go to the mountains. We're a very outdoor recreation friendly community here. Lots of folks to help your clients explore and experience that. From the top left, kind of working clockwise, Seattle Mountain Bike Tours. They are ready to take your clients on a mountain bike adventure. So this guy takes you to that tunnel. That tunnel is about 2 miles long. Nice gentle down slope, so not too hard. You can go as easy as that, or you can go very extreme if you've got some very skilled mountain bikers. REI is a recreation outfitter here in the States, and they also have tours. So there in the top right is a sunrise snowshoe option in the winter months. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful space. And then on the bottom here, we have got Snoqualmie Falls and Woodinville Wine. Woodinville Wine, it's not really outdoor recreation, but we want you to experience it all. Evergreen Escapes is a really excellent outfitter here, and they take folks from the city into the mountains. And one of their tours that stays a little close to home is the Snoqualmie Falls and Woodinville Wine. So your clients will get to experience the awe of this really beautiful waterfall. and the outdoors that comes along with it. And then you just shift just a little north to Woodinville, and you get to do some wine tasting. Washington State is actually the second largest producer of wine in the country, and Woodinville is just a 20 minutes drive from downtown Seattle, and they're home to over 120 tasting rooms. So it's really very sweet little spot there. In addition to waterfalls and wine, Evergreen Escapes, they will take your clients out into our national parks. So we've got the Olympic National Park there on the bottom, North Cascades, and then probably our most famous, Mount Rainier. Evergreen Escapes, if you've got clients that are here for more than 3 days, I would highly recommend giving these guys a call. They're full day excursions, so 7:30 in the morning to 7:30 at night, but they are door to door, so they will pick your client up at any downtown hotel, take them out on their excursion, and then tuck them in at night. All right, and then quickly, we've got some festivals. I had to throw this one in. This is one of my favorite photos, and this just wrapped up. So Skagit Valley Tulip Festival is every spring, usually around April. Beautiful, beautiful space. If you want to stay in Seattle and have your clients go explore a little outside those city limits. But if you want to stay in the city limits, in November, we are kicking off. This November will be our 3rd annual Cloud Break. So if you want to if you've got clients who are really into that music scene, send them my way in November. If they are booked in any one of our participating downtown hotels, they will get free access, free admission to any one of the over 70 concerts that are playing or that are happening in that time span. So over the course of 3 weeks, we had 70 concerts over 30 venues. So on any one given night, there was, I think at most maybe 4 or 5 concerts on one night. And this was really a product of the pandemic to try and prop up and support our local artists. So that happens in November. Refract is a celebration of glass art. In addition to Dale Chihuly, Seattle is home to 70 glass artists. And this is generally that second weekend of October. Really wonderful way to explore the city. A lot of those artists open their doors for demonstrations like this. And then I cannot not mention Museum Month. So February is Seattle Museum Month. Send your clients down. If they stay at one of those participating hotels, they will get 50% off at any one of our participating museums. Last year, we had just over 30. And then a city of neighborhoods. Just come and explore. We've got maritime industry, we've got beer, we've got trolls, we've got houseboats, LGBTQ up in Capitol Hill, along with the Starbucks Roastery. Just so much to see and do. And that is it for me.
Thank you so much, Caitlyn. That was a wonderful presentation. So much great information in there, full of so many amazing recommendations. The festivals portion was great as well. Our agents just really, really enjoyed it. Lots of comments in the chat. Thanks for this. That sounds amazing. We love Seattle, love the Kraken. So just really enthusiastic comments in the chat. We do also have some questions, so we can start to go over those now. Definitely lots of enthusiasm around the Kraken. And so Chris was asking, and also Matthew is kind of around the same thing, about any game packages that are available or for their clients, and then also any hockey packages or industry discounts for travel agents as well.
So to the travel agent discount, I can speak to that kind of broadly. We get this question quite a lot. And so we have a curated list from restaurants to attractions that I can absolutely send in that follow-up. We are working on it right now with the, summer season is basically here. And so we want to make sure that's as up to date as possible. With the Kraken and games, I will have to double check on that. I know getting the arena tour out was a big priority for them, and they are still working on building things like packages and things as a relatively new team. So I am happy to find that information for you. I don't know, but that's not to say it doesn't exist or that it's not in the works to be rolled out for next season.
Okay, thank you. And Caitlyn, I see both you and Tracy have shared your contact information here too. So if our participants from today have any more questions around that, can they get in touch with you to ask?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, and Chris is saying yes. Please attach the list of the sports packages. So I've made a note, Chris. We'll get that on there for you. Okay, great. Chris actually was also asking about how much the underground tours are, the underground tours that you were talking about.
Yes. So those are, so we've got two that operate in Pioneer Square, and they both run about $20. So they're not $20 US. So as far as attractions go and tours, those are pretty reasonably priced. So yeah. And I do know those are available for trade online with a couple different avenues as well. But yeah,
Awesome.
if you went.
Great. Okay, thank you for that. We had some travel agents in the chat talking about FAMs in general for Seattle. You showed that picture of a FAM from a while ago. I think someone from Travelweek was there. I saw Annie
Yep,
Sikvarek,
Annie was
who's
there.
yeah, in that picture. So thanks for sharing that. That was very cool. Where can our readers find out more about when you might be hosting FAMs or any travel agent discounts that they can learn about?
So we actually have a travel professionals page, and that is something else I'm happy to include with the follow-up. I think it's something as easy as visitseattle.org/travel-professionals, if I recall correctly. On there, you will find all sorts of tips and tricks on how to navigate the city, from transportation to itinerary ideas. And so that is definitely a tool available to all the folks on this call today.
Excellent. So yeah, thanks. We'll definitely share that link. Oh, I see Tracy. Yep, go ahead, Tracy.
Sure, Ken. So I was just also going to add in, just a reminder or new news, I guess, maybe first to hear that we will be in Canada. Our team will be in Canada in October. Okay. I'm like, what's our date again? End of October. So if you are in Edmonton, Calgary, or Vancouver, please watch the calendars online, and if you're part of our mailing list from before, you'll be invited up to some of our agent events that we'll be bringing out a whole team of people with us to talk all about Seattle. So watch for that at the end of October.
Excellent. Thanks so much for sharing. You heard it here, everyone. So stay tuned for that information. I do have another question here from Kim, and she's asking about some recommendations for a group that she has coming in July. I'll read you her comment. She just says, I have 53 clients coming in July, for a cruise, and she's asking for suggestions of things they can do either in the early AM or the late night PM, like between when they're coming in.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of follow-up questions I have to that, just like the age and interest.
Yeah. If it's a better question for her to reach out to you, she can also do that too.
Yeah, I definitely shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to send some recommendations. I definitely, for early morning, if Pike Place Market was something you wanted to do, I would 100% recommend doing that earlier in the morning. That's my favorite time of day to go, because the market is just kind of waking up and the vendors are setting up. It's not quite as busy, and yeah, it's just a little magical. But yeah, there's a lot to see and do. We've also have a really pretty great theater scene in Seattle as well. And so if live theater and music is something that your group might be interested in, there are a number of different ways you can take that in the city, depending on the time of year. So.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Just a follow-up question to Tracy. I see you put the Visit Seattle Travel Professionals website in the chat. So everyone, we'll put it in the email as well, but it's there in the chat for you just so you have it. I have some agents asking about being added to your mailing list. So can they find out, can they be added through the Travel Professionals website link? Is that how they would sign up?
How would they sign up? I think we could probably get.
Probably best to email me directly. I would say, Caitlyn,
Okay.
right?
Yep, that sounds right.
Yeah, we house it here. So, yeah, if you want to email, because there's not a login, I don't think there's a sign up on the Travel Professional page.
No problem. So Matthew Vaughn, he popped into the Q&A. To get on the mailing list, sent his email, but Matthew, probably the best way then would be to just email Tracy directly. You can see her contact information is up here on this last slide. And so anyone else who'd like to be added to the Visit Seattle Travel Professional mailing list, please contact Tracy as well for that. Okay. And then lastly, another question just about the different times of the year to visit. So could you talk a little bit more, Caitlyn, about like when would be high season, when would be low season, just to give our travel professionals a little more information on that and booking times, etc.
Absolutely. Definitely that we're coming into that high season. So summer months are going to be pretty busy with that cruise business, but then also just, I think summer inherently is always going to be a little busy no matter where you are. The summer months here are absolutely stunning. Weather is beautiful, sunshiny, and taking in Seattle by water is just, you really can't beat Seattle in the summer. It'll be a little more crowded. The rates for hotels for your clients are probably going to be a little higher during those summer months. Which is why I love to recommend, leading into the summer or just after. So those shoulder seasons. Right now, the last month has just been a bloom with blooms. It's absolutely stunning outside right now. My yard is just on fire with pink cherry blossoms and has been for weeks. So it's a really beautiful time of year, and it's not going to be too busy. And it's actually really sunny right now. So it can be a little chilly, but a little sunny. The fall is, I think of all, is going to be my favorite. As I mentioned, the days are still long, the temperatures are still going to be great, and there's still so much to see and do. The crowds are going to be a little less, and the costs are going to be a little less. And then the runner-up for fall is winter, because I am a big ski bum. So we've actually got 4 mountains here in the state of Washington. The furthest one is going to be from Seattle, probably 2.5 hours, maybe 3. But you have one super accessible. It's like 45-50 minutes drive out from outside of the city. So those winter months come a lot of winter recreation, but it's also a perfect time to take in those museums. And so for like museum month, Cloudbreak Music Festival, holidays. So there's just a little bit of magic with each of those seasons in its own different way. Yeah.
Yes, no, absolutely. So many times to visit, so many good times of the year, really all times. But yeah, it's great for our readers just to know that when they're booking for their clients based on different interests, etc. You mentioned it just as you were speaking there. Terry Lynn was asking, this is our last question, just the name of the concert festival. And so it was Cloudbreak, I think you mentioned.
Cloudbreak, yep. And we just secured all of the logistical specifics, and so more information for it will be coming out in the next couple months. But it is it's a pretty awesome time of year to come visit the city and take in that local music. So
definitely sounds like a lot of fun for sure. So Travelweek readers, just be sure to sign up for the newsletter. You can for their newsletter to get information on upcoming events, festivals, etc. through Tracy. You'll also see again that the link to the travel professional site is down there in the chat. We'll send this out again in the follow-up email. And it looks like those are all our questions for today. So I just want to end the show first by saying thank you so much to both you, Caitlyn and Tracy, for being here today and sharing all this wonderful information with our readers. There definitely was so many useful things in here for them to book their holidays for their clients. So thank you for that. And I'd like to also say a big thank you to all our travel professionals who are here on the webinar today. Thank you so much for being here, and congratulations, all of you who have stayed on are now eligible to win the Seattle prize pack. So again, stay tuned for the follow-up email where you see all of that. Caitlyn, Tracy, do you have anything else you would like to say before we close out the show for today?
No, super excited to be here. Very thankful for the opportunity, and I hope to see everyone in Seattle soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and stay tuned for the follow-up email. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.